I might just be born to sew. I made such a dire mistake. Scary, scary, scary. It's okay, we're trying. There are so many things that I've always wanted to try. So I'm starting this new series called Jamie Tries, where I try new things and I bring you through the entire experience. Because I really want to show you that it's okay to try new things no matter where you're at in your life, no matter what age you are. Even if you think you're going to fail or not be very good at it, it's still so much fun and so worth it to dip your toes into something new. So I have big plans for this series, but for the very first episode, I'm going to be trying sewing. And I've wasted absolutely no time. Sewing is a skill that I've always wished that I've had, but for whatever reason, I just never got around to actually learning how to do it. I am no stranger to fiber arts. I know how to crochet. I've already been knitting my own clothes, and let me tell you, it is the most satisfying process. There's something that just changes inside of you when you realize that you can actually make your clothes. And now that I just know the satisfaction that comes with it, I simply just want to continue making my own clothes. Enter sewing. One thing about me, I mean, as you can see, once I decide that I want to do something, I go all in. And I have big goals for this episode because not only do I want to learn how to sew, but I want to create an entire outfit. I'm going to start off by making a fun tote bag, which from what I've heard is a really great beginner project. And then hopefully I'll learn a lot during that and I'll be able to take that into the next project, which is going to be a pant and shirt set. Yeah. I don't know if I'm a bit delusional in thinking that I'll be able to do this in a week. I guess we're gonna find out. The least I can do is try, and that's the whole point of the series. Now, if you're wondering how I'm actually gonna learn how to sew, YouTube. I discovered a YouTuber, her name is Sydney Graham, and she has unintentionally became my sewing guru. She has an entire series that teaches you how to sew. She tells you exactly what you need to get. She tells you how to actually use your sewing machine. I picked up all the things that she told me to get, and I'm gonna be following her beginner sewing project, which is the tote bag tutorial. And then for the pant and shirt set, I'm also going to be using 2 of her patterns, but one thing at a time. Let's focus on the tote bag. And before I even start using my sewing machine, I want to go to the fabric store and pick up my fabric for this project. So let's go. There's so many options. How do I know what to choose? That's not what I need at all. I love that color. This could be so cute for the lining with like a bright color on the outside. I kind of love that. Okay, let's do a quick sewing haul and I'm gonna show you everything that I picked up. We've got pins and a pin cushion. And this one's really cute because you could put it on your wrist. Feel very professional. Little clips, fabric scissors, and a rotary cutter, which I actually already had. Crease markers, clear ruler, ginormous self-healing cutting mat, needles, thread for this project, and as you already saw, my fabric. Pinstripe lime yellow is going to be the lining for the tote bag. The green is going to be the straps, and then the beige is going to be the actual base of the bag. And of course, my sewing machine. I went down such a rabbit hole trying to figure out what sewing machine to get. I cannot even tell you how confusing that process was. I was considering getting like a $50 vintage sewing machine because that's what a lot of people suggested, because apparently they're just a lot better than more modern sewing machines. But I was so overwhelmed with the idea of getting something that didn't have a manual. And so I did decide to go down the more modern sewing machine route. From all of my research on Reddit, on YouTube, and from Sydney Graham, because she did recommend this sewing machine in her video, I decided to go with the Brother CS7000X. And I'm hoping that it was a good choice. Okay, now I gotta figure out how to actually use this thing. I don't even know where to start. Where do I start? What am I doing? What is this? One thing I did not know is that the thread actually comes from 2 different places. You have the thread at the top, and then you also have the bobbin, which is the thread that comes from the bottom. So you're actually getting thread from 2 areas, which I had no idea. Oh my God, I'm already so overwhelmed. Circled numbers, and they... It's working. I think I did it. I think I threaded the machine. I kind of want to practice a little bit on a piece of fabric. So I think I might just cut off a little bit of an end here. Oh my God. I think I'm doing something. How do I make it go a little bit faster? Ah! Uh-oh. This is officially my first stitch. This is what the back looks like. I know I've been doing this for literally 3 seconds. I've only just discovered how to thread the machine. I feel so over my head. And I'm just realizing in this moment that I set a goal to make a full outfit. Oh my God. I don't know what I was thinking. Should we try this again? Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, scary, scary, scary. Something doesn't feel quite right here. I don't know if that's what it's supposed to look like. I don't think I'm gonna start the tote bag today. I feel like that would be insane. I would probably just end up wasting so much fabric. I think what I'm gonna do tonight is I'm just going to practice on the machine, and then hopefully tomorrow I'll be a little bit more confident to actually start sewing things. Right now, this feels so foreign. So I think the goal for today is just to get familiar with this and to get comfortable with actually using it. It's been a couple hours and I've just been continuously practicing making stitches on this piece of fabric. And I feel like I'm finally at a point where it's actually looking pretty clean. When I started, it was looking really, really, really bad, especially on the back. Like the thread was getting all bunched and I wasn't really sure what was happening, but then I realized that I didn't thread my needle properly. Anyways, it's better now. And now it's not happening anymore. So I'm already troubleshooting and already figuring out what I'm doing wrong, which is a great sign. I'm feeling good, feeling more confident than I did a couple hours ago. I'm eager to get started. I'll see you tomorrow. It's a new day. So I'm just gonna jump right into it. I don't wanna overthink it. So these are the steps that I'm gonna have to follow to actually make this tote bag. We have the lining construction, which includes inner pockets, the outer bag construction, strap construction, creating patches to embellish the outside of the bag, and of course, putting it all together. And it looks like the first step is to cut out the fabric. Confused on how to make sure to cut the fabric straight. I'm gonna line it up as straight as possible against the line here and then line up my ruler against the line also. I'm just gonna go for it. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Okay, look at me. One piece officially cut out. Oh my God, that was a terrible cut. Yikes. I feel like these are really crooked. Cutting the fabric is low-key the scariest part. Okay, well, these dimensions are now not correct. It's now 19 by 15 and a half. How'd that happen? So this is my lining. I am thrilled that I chose a striped fabric because it's gonna help me keep my lines straight. The thing about me is I am a rusher. I am not somebody who likes to take my time. So I'm kind of trying to train my brain right now to take my time and make sure that like I'm doing things right, because a lot of the time when I do these types of things, I have to do them like 3 times. So I'm trying to not do that. I can't even tell you how stressful this is though, honestly. Oh my God, I don't think I did that cut very good. Oh no, that was so crooked. Oh no. That was my rotary cutter's fault. Cutting this fabric took a full hour. Fabric tour, bottom of the bag. These are supposed to be interior pockets, exterior pocket, the straps, the exterior of the bag. So it's a brand new day. Today is when the real work begins and I'm actually gonna start sewing. Oh boy. But first I gotta eat my lunch. This is supposed to be the lining pocket and now I'm supposed to sew all the way down at this little crease that I made. And this is gonna be the first time that I'm actually going to be sewing something for this bag. Machine on. I don't even know why I'm doing this. I feel like I should know the reasons why I'm doing things, but I don't. Bring down the needle. Whoop, we're going slow. Only goal here is for this to be straight. Oh my God, this is so stressful. When does sewing become relaxing? I feel like I'm doing a good job though. It's looking good, I think. It looks really good, guys. I might just be born to sew. Every part of me wants to make this go faster because like I said, I'm the most impatient person ever, but I think going slow, especially at the very beginning, is key to make sure that things don't get messed up. We're coming up to the end though. Oh my God, I think I did it. I think I did a good job. Okay, wait, now I got a back stitch. So the back stitch apparently like locks in your thread. So it's important to do it at the beginning and the end. So I've heard. I did it! Wait, let's see how it looks. Fabric reveal. You know what? That's pretty good and pretty straight. I'm so proud of myself. Oh my God. I didn't mess it up, guys. Look at how not messy that looks. Okay, now I do the other one. And I'm gonna speed it up a touch. Just see how that feels. Okay. Doable. 2 pieces done. Oh my gosh, I can't even believe it. How did I do? A bit uneven, not bad. I think my first piece was a little bit better. I think right at the end here, I actually should have folded a little bit more fabric. I'm not aiming for perfection here. I obviously want this to look nice, but I know it's not going to be perfect because this is definitely going to be a learning project and not so much a perfect project. The next step is to make pockets. Okay. Now I understand why I folded in the hem here so that it looks nice. So it looks like a finished pocket. Okay, so this is my lining piece. This is my pocket piece. Not gonna lie, I'm actually shocked that the width matches up because I'm so used to messing things up on the first try. Like the fact that this is kind of working out so far, even though this is only step 2, is really blowing my mind a little bit. So I'm gonna make 2 skinnier pockets on the side and then have a larger one in the center. That's also what she's doing. There's no way that I'm making any creative decisions right now. Like I need to follow this by the book. So I just wanna make sure that I'm gonna line it up the same way. So this is 1, 2, 3, quarter. Okay, mark it with a little pin. Okay. She honestly makes it look quite straightforward. So basically I just need to stitch around the edge and then just make those vertical stitches as well. She does suggest doing a basting stitch, which is apparently a stitch that kind of holds things in place temporarily. So a basting stitch is a 5mm stitch length. So I just adjust that on my machine. So I'm going to use that to stitch all around. I feel like we can speed things up. I'm feeling confident. I think I did it. Now it's time to do the pockets. Did I just make a freaking pocket? Oh my God. Oh my God, I made a pocket. I made a pocket. Stop it right now. I can't even believe it. I made a freaking pocket. Wait. Oh my God, my pocket works. Look, guys. This is so cool. Okay, now I basically have to do just the exact same thing on the other panel. Now I feel slightly more confident now that I've made 2 successful pockets that I can take some creative liberties. So I think in the second panel, I will potentially just make some like skinnier pockets and let's see how that goes. Now we're gonna sew both of the linings together. So one on top of each other, pockets touching. Oh my God, the width of all of these are actually all so different. This feels like an exciting step because it's going to start to come together. Well, I've made my first mistake. I don't know how I missed this, but apparently I wasn't supposed to close up the bottom of the lining because this piece is supposed to be attached to the bottom of the lining. So that means I gotta do some seam ripping. So let's get ripping, I guess. Okay, that really wasn't so bad. Once I got the hang of it, it went fairly quickly and I just learned that I really love to seam rip. It's quite satisfying. It's day 4. The fact that I was delusional enough to think that I would be able to make not just a tote, but a pant and a shirt set in a week. I mean, I'm giving myself credit for just believing myself, but that was an insane, very unrealistic goal. There's one big thing that I've realized on this sewing journey so far, and that is that having somebody actually teach you in person would probably be extremely helpful. I am definitely pro like trying to figure out things for yourself. And there's also so many people out there who are self-taught and have taught themselves how to sew very effectively. I was able to teach myself how to knit. I was able to teach myself how to crochet. And I feel like those hobbies are definitely easier to kind of pick up on your own. But oh my God, I mean, I'm seeing how complicated sewing can get. And I am also seeing how much having like an in-person instructor showing you exactly what to do and why you're doing it, which I think is really important to understand when you're trying to learn a new skill, is really important. And I have already started looking up sewing teachers in Montreal. But that said, this is what my bag is currently looking like. And I feel like it's looking pretty good. The shape is a little bit wonky, I will say. And there's definitely some unevenness going on, especially on the pockets. As you can see, they kind of start at different points. I'm gonna start working on the straps, which I did end up recutting last night because I just felt like my first cut wasn't as straight as possible. Let's get to it. think I actually did a pretty good job. I feel like my stitch is fairly straight. Okay, amazing. I'm just gonna go ahead and do the second one. I maybe just experienced the most frustrating part of this entire process thus far, and I didn't get any of it on camera because I was so frustrated. I couldn't even think straight to turn the camera on. I basically had to turn these straps inside out, and there's different ways that you can turn straps inside out. Sydney actually recommended using a safety pin, which was not working at all. You basically like have to feed the safety pin throughout the entire tube, and because this is such a thick fabric, it's like impossible to do. So I actually just ran to the sewing store and I picked up this thing, which is basically a quick turn tool, I think it's called. Essentially a chopstick and a tube. And you basically push the fabric through the tube with the chopstick and it turns it inside out. I ended up finally turning it inside out. And then I realized that I accidentally ripped part of my strap. I am not going to make a new one yet. I might end up having to because this part might actually be sewed onto the bag itself. So it might actually be hidden. Fingers crossed, because I really don't want to have to do that all again. It was really not fun. So anyways, now I gotta just iron this out, get rid of all the creases, and also make sure the seam is sitting in the right spot. Another weird quirk about my personality is that I am a perfectionist in so many ways, but with things like this, I'm like, oh, it's fine. I don't need to completely fix this totally ripped open seam because I'm just gonna try and hide it instead. Whereas I'm sure a lot of like really type A people would lose their mind and would probably redo it immediately. So it's actually time to do the embellishments on the outside pocket. Because I only have 2 fabrics to work with, I'm going to do something really simple. She actually stitches the patches on. I'm not gonna do that. I'm actually gonna glue them on with fabric glue. I just feel like it's so much easier and so much more beginner friendly and a lot less work. And I like that. I mean, maybe not a masterpiece, but I think it's gonna be cute once it all comes together.
To mark strap, and then we are going other strap way.
Oh my god, this is so frustrating. Oh my god, it looks terrible. It's okay, we're trying. We're trying. Things have definitely taken a little bit of a turn. The good news is that both sides of the tote bag are done. The issue that I realized after sewing on the straps is that they are quite short. Oh my God. There is no chance I am taking this off, redoing the straps completely. And it's just gonna be a really tight shoulder tote and or hand tote. I do feel like things from afar look okay. If you looked at this closely, it's kind of messy and just not well constructed. But I mean, I don't even know what I expected. Of course, it's not gonna be well constructed. This is the first time I've ever touched a sewing machine. Da, 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 da. Wow. Let me give you a little tour, okay? So we have the front, which includes the front pocket. We have the back. Wow. We have the inside, which I would say is probably the most exciting part, with all of the pockets on the side. It can fit so many things. We have the straps, which are way too small, but it still fits on the shoulder. It wasn't a complete fail, but this was definitely so much harder than I expected. I really thought that I was going to be a sewing star. Like, I thought I was going to start sewing and it would be like a hidden talent that I didn't know that I had. It turns out that's not what happened, and I need a lot more practice. I feel like the thing that I struggle with the most on this project is just like making things look neat and straight and clean looking. I feel like the tote actually looks pretty good from afar, but as soon as you start to look at the details, like the stitching, you can see that it's very, 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 very bad. Look at what's going on in the strap over here. It's not great. So a solid effort overall, but definitely not my best work. To be expected. Working with this fabric was really difficult. It's really thick canvas and it's just not very malleable and kind of hard to maneuver and hard to work with. Probably not the most beginner friendly fabric. And so I almost wonder if I were to work on like a piece of clothing that was a much thinner, lighter fabric, if that would change anything. I do think this was really good practice though. I learned a lot, but I still have so much more to learn. I'm not gonna lie, I was this close to canceling the second part of this video. Truthfully, the process of making that tote bag discouraged me. And I'm not saying that I want to give up or anything, but I just don't feel very ready to take on a piece of clothing. Like I feel like I need to practice a lot more. Where is the Jamie from the beginning of this video who was delusional enough to think that she could make a tote bag, a pant, and a top? I do feel like she is long gone. I have, however, changed my plan slightly. Instead of making a pant and a top, I'm just going to focus all of my efforts on one item, and that's going to be the Lane pants, also from Cindy Graham. This is obviously my first time sewing a piece of clothing, and it's also my first time looking at an actual pattern. So it's adding this extra level of I don't know what the I'm doing. A lot of people were actually saying that this is a really great beginner pattern, and there's a lot of ways that you can adjust it to make it easier, to make it more complicated. And I'm definitely going to be doing the easiest version of this pattern. They're essentially like plain wide leg flowy pants, which are my favorite pants to wear. So I'm really hoping that I actually make it well, because I want to wear these. They look so cute. There is also a video tutorial that goes along with the pattern. I'm definitely a visual learner, and that is hopefully going to help. So we're going to start off first by getting the fabric, and I'm actually sitting outside a fabric store that I've never been to before. It's called Atelier Espace Fabrique. It has 5 stars on Google. I kind of want a patterned fabric. I don't know if that's a good idea or a bad idea, if that makes it easier or harder. So let's see what we can get. I got the most perfect fabric. When I was imagining the perfect fabric for this project, this is literally exactly what I had in mind. I almost feel like I manifested it. It's also the exact same color as the tip of my nails. And I also just say that the fabric store was beautiful. It was so organized, not overwhelming at all. I was able to see every single fabric that they had. And what I really like about their concept is that all of the fabrics are dead stock. Next, I have to get the actual like pattern pieces printed. They're printed on A0. I think that's what it's called, paper, which is really, really big paper. You can do it at home. It just is a little bit more complicated. You have to start like taping things together. And honestly, I just want this to be as easy as possible. So I'm going to try and find a print store and get that printed. I was trying to look for a print shop around here and I couldn't really find anything. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go inside the store and ask if she has a recommendation for somewhere that I can go to get my pattern printed. And she said, oh, we print patterns. And here she is. Another reason why I'm now obsessed with this store that is so convenient. I love that they print their own patterns. But yay, I have everything that I need. One-stop shop. Love it. Today's the day we are getting started on the Lane pants. I'm wearing my lucky cardigan that I knit for good luck. I'm not gonna lie, I feel a lot of pressure and I'm quite nervous to get started. I spent the last like hour and a bit cutting out the pattern pieces, cutting out the fabric. I have Sydney's tutorial pulled up on my computer and I'm just going to really try my best to take it slow. I'm not going to rush this process. I'm already sweating, taking off my cardigan. To make the Lane pants, I'm first gonna learn how to create pockets and I'm gonna assemble the front and the back of the pant. I'll also learn how to create a waistband with a drawstring. And lastly, hemming the pants. I feel like I'm not gonna be able to talk while I do this because I'm going to be so deep in concentration. Already, I do feel like this is easier than the tote bag. I really do like the fact that I cut out these pieces from a pattern. So that gives me comfort in knowing that I cut out the right shape. So it makes it just like slightly more foolproof, I find, which is kind of nice. Ooh, look at my nice seam. Cute. It does kind of feel like somewhat of a video game. Like that feeling when like you complete a level. That's what it feels like every time I complete a step. It feels like I get like a coin or something. Ooh, we're about to learn a new skill. It's called a French seam. It's not really much of a skill. It's just, I think, more of a technique. So basically we first created one seam that was 1/4 of an inch into the fabric. And then we flipped it inside out, pressed it, and now I'm going to make another seam that's 3/4 of an inch into the fabric. And that encloses your first seam and creates a French seam. Learn something new. Straight, please be straight. Oh my God, so straight. I did it. Look, it's beautiful. Yay. Great news. I didn't f it up. They both look exactly the same. I will say, very much enjoying this process. We are attaching things. Ooh. I have already learned so many new things and I'm only 7 minutes into this tutorial. I did an understitch, which basically means that you stitch the seam allowance that's on the other side down. And I also did a zigzag stitch along the seam allowance so that it doesn't fray. Like I said, sometimes when I'm doing these things, I don't really know exactly what I'm doing, like what I'm actually creating. I'm just kind of trusting the process. So it's so interesting and cool to actually see it come together. And now I'm actually seeing that this is the pocket. That's what I was making all along. Like I knew it was the pocket, but I imagined it looked kind of different. Wow, it's kind of looking like a pant leg. Okay, now I gotta do a little basting stitch here and here and here to hold it, I think temporarily. I finished both the pant legs. Here's one pocket, here's the other pocket. I'm not to toot my own horn, but I think I kind of killed that. All right, we're back with a very big step. We're gonna be connecting the back leg to the front leg. Oh my God, look at that. It looks so good. I'm just gonna let these speak for themselves. I have pants. I think I might actually finish these pants tonight, which is quite exciting. I can't even believe how much I've gotten done in just a couple hours too. I might eat my words once I actually try them on at the very end. But as of right now, I mean, it's going so well. I wanna cry. So I'm in the middle of like finishing up my pants, right? And I'm looking at them, I'm like, they look kind of short. Like they kind of hit right above my calf. Like they're short. They're essentially culottes at the moment, which they're not supposed to be. For whatever reason, like this didn't raise any red flags up until this moment because I had these extra pieces and the extra pieces were bottom of the pant. I figured at some point I would be attaching these pieces to the bottom of the pant. I just realized that this piece was supposed to be attached obviously to the main piece of the pant leg. I was confused because this was an individual piece in the pattern and I didn't see anywhere where it said, and I'm sure it did somewhere, I probably just missed it, where you have to basically tape the two pieces of the pattern together to create the full length of the pants. So I'm essentially missing like all of this length on my pants right now. I can't even tell you how upset I am. Things were going so well. I actually cannot even believe I made such a dire mistake. Like I would not be able to salvage this unless I started over completely. And I don't have enough fabric to be able to start over completely. So what are my options here? Capris are in at the moment. So I can make these into capris, which frankly, I think will be really ugly. I think my best option is to make these into shorts, like almost like boxer style shorts. I was also thinking like, what if I just sewed this on as a panel? I could basically sew the front and the back pieces that I have together to make a tube. And then I could sew that tube onto the pants and then they'll just kind of be a seam at the bottom of the leg. That could be an interesting design choice. So I think those are my two options, shorts or seam at the calf. We're persevering, okay? We're not gonna get discouraged. And just like that, I have a pair of finished pants. I'm not even gonna make you wait. I'm putting these on immediately. So as you saw, and as you can see, I did decide to make a completely brand new pair, and I'm so happy that I did, and that I didn't just cut these into Bermuda shorts or Frankenstein two pieces together, because I just don't think I would have been as happy as I am now with the final result. It was so worth the extra time because not only do I have a proper full-length pair of pants, but I actually think well, I don't even think, I know that they're so much better constructed compared to the original pants that I made. So if you look at the original pair, you can actually see that the pattern doesn't quite match up. And that's something that I didn't even fully think about when I was making this pair. So with the new pair, I really took my time to try and match up the pattern, especially on like the main two pieces of the legs. And I feel like I did a pretty successful job. It's definitely not perfect, obviously. I feel like it looks right. This was just such a good lesson for me that it's just so worth it to do it right. Even if it takes more time, even if I had to spend a little bit more money to get more fabric, which kind of sucked. It was an annoying, pricey lesson, but it was a lesson. Let me give you a quick little pant tour. I think what I'm most proud of is probably the pockets. They just look so professional and so clean. I also love how deep they are. Like they go until about here. Like this can fit a full phone. I also feel like the seams on the side just look really nice and clean. Probably the most notable part of the pants is like the drawstring and the waist area. So it has both an elastic and a drawstring, which makes them really, 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 really comfortable. Like this is a perfect dinner pant. Like you can get bloated in these and you are not gonna be uncomfortable. I feel like these pants with a pair of heels would be so good. And even just with like a white shirt like I'm wearing now and running shoes, also so good. What really surprised me the most about this like sewing process is how quickly these actually came together. I made these in a day, which is blowing my mind because if I think about like my knitting, it takes me like a solid 4 to 6 months to make one piece of clothing. So the fact that I can just whip up a pair of pants in a day, game changer, so cool. Let me show you what the outfit looks like all together with my tote. The colors don't really go, that's for sure, but it's cute. I've actually been using this tote quite a lot over the last couple of days. I find that it works like functionally really, really well as a knitting bag. It's not constructed very well and that's becoming more and more clear as I'm using it. I think if I were to remake this now, it would be like 1,000 times better and I might actually do that. This is always going to be special because it will always be my first sewing project. I think it's safe to say that I have learned how to sew over the last week and I'm officially adding this to my creative hobby roster. Learning how to sew was definitely a roller coaster ride. At the beginning, I genuinely just didn't think I would be able to do it and there were a lot of ups and downs. Probably like the biggest takeaway that I've taken from the last week of learning how to sew myself. I mean, it sounds like so simple and so obvious, but really take things step by step. It can be very overwhelming when you look at things through like a macro lens and you can often get discouraged before you even start. And what really helped me through the process and helped me also not get like overwhelmed and discouraged too quickly is just taking it really, really, really slow and also being okay with messing up. I would also like recommend maybe getting inexpensive fabric to start with. Like that's something that I didn't do and I don't know why. I feel like I should have known better. I would also say, while I really do love the sewing machine that I ended up picking up, I think it's perfect and great. I think if you're looking to get your first sewing machine, I really don't feel like you need something like as fancy as what I got. Something super simple probably would have been sufficient. No regrets because I really love it and hopefully it'll last me forever. But if I had to give advice for somebody investing in a sewing machine for the first time, I feel like you probably don't need the machine that has like the 70 stitch options because I think you probably only use 5 of them. I'm just really excited to continue to hone in on this craft and see where my skills are going to take me 6 months from now, even a year from now. Who knows, maybe one day I'll be making my own patterns. That would be so cool. And I'm just so happy that I finally tried sewing. And I really hope that you enjoyed the very first episode of the Jamie Tries series. I'm actually in production for one of the episodes right now. It's actually going to be in production for a full month. It's the biggest shoot and the biggest project I've ever taken on. I'm really, really just so excited about this series and I feel very inspired by it. I feel very inspired to just try all these new things and bring you along for the journey and the process so we can see how it goes together. And I would love to hear from you guys and let me know in the comments some things that maybe you would want to see me try next. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed this video and subscribe if you want to see more from me. There is definitely a lot to come, so I would highly recommend that you do. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.